Hello viewers and welcome to Daily Politics. I'm Hamza Idris. Nigerians have set template for the Tinubu administration, highlighting priority areas that need to be looked into. Have a look.
The last 8 years under former President Muhammadu Buhari have been eventful but turbulent. Some Abuja residents listed economic growth, improved security, good governance, social development, and job creation as what they want the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration to prioritize.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he came in order to save the country, because in reality, Nigeria now we are facing three challenges. First, insecurity. Second, inflation. And the third is joblessness. So both these three categories that we are facing in this country, we have especially Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his colleague Shatima should do their best to deliver the country.
Hospital and salary. So the president should look about that.
We must look at mining, we must look at agriculture, we must look at other human resources, other resources that we are endowed with. We will develop them and harness them. One thing I like about this president, Ahmed Tinubu, is that he knows how to assemble the best hand to get the best result for the nation. So my expectation out here is going to deliver. He's going to deliver. And I want everybody to cooperate, because you cannot work magic when there's no cooperation. Whether the opposition or not, they should all come together and move the country forward.
Let there be growth in the country in all the sectors of the government. People are suffering. No, I'll not tell you lie. There's no food. Cashless policy came. COVID-19 came. And all these held persons down. I'm a party to some of my brothers, family members, lost their life in regard to this instability of the government. So what we are expecting from this government is restructure and renewal of the hope.
Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima took oath of office as president and vice president at a colorful inauguration ceremony at Eagle Square in Abuja on Monday. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And barely 24 hours after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office as the 16th leader of Nigeria, reports indicate interagency rivalry among security agencies in the country, and most likely it has reared its ugly head once again. The latest incident involved the Department of State Security Service, DSS, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. While Yusuf Magaji Bichi is the Director General of DSS, Abdul Rashid Bawa is the Chairman of EFCC. Wilson Wojaren, spokesperson of the anti-graft body, in a statement said operatives of the DSS laid siege on their Lagos office. He described the action of the Nigeria Secret Police agents as shocking. And on the program tonight, we'll be talking to Idayat Hassan. She is the Executive Director, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. She joins us to discuss the huge expectations on the new administration, its rollout, governance template, and implications. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
We're happy to have you in the studio after such a long time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and new government, new policies, new templates. Yeah, viewers, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Stay with us. Welcome back. You followed the elections right from inception. Was it January 2022 up to the election, whether it will hold or it will not hold? The elections over. Inauguration also over. Are you happy? Let me start this way.
I think that the elections it's come and gone. maybe in some quarters, and I think it's a mixed bag. It's not doomed the way many people project it to actually be. There were successes, there were challenges in these elections. At least we saw a lot of upsets that previously were not possible. When we look at the National Assembly elections, we now have a National Assembly with 8 political parties.
8, yeah.
Yes, unprecedented.
Have we ever had something like that?
Nothing like that since the return to 24 years of democracy, which gives us a tablecloth of parties, and is actually making the ruling party not to be the majority party in the National Assembly today.
Especially the House of Reps.
Especially the House of Reps, where they don't have the majority currently. And I think that's like inspiring. It's also inspiring in the sense that it tells us that even the voters we claim are often not literate, they don't identify symbol, are able to identify the symbol of some of these parties, which shows us the sophistication of an average voter in this country, and kudos to them, where in spite of all the challenges, they turn out to vote and vote for people they believe could actually win. We saw 4-time, 5-time member unseated. We saw governors unseated.
Is it 33-year-old, for instance, in
Kano,
in
Kano, Kaduna,
many cases there in Zamfara. I mean, in Sokoto also.
You saw like 7 governors who have actually made the Senate to be their retirement home defeated. In fact, what is even fascinating is that in some of those states, they did not lose the states. They actually, if I take Cross River as an example, it was the governor, Ben Ayadi, that lost his senatorial seat. The other candidate actually won.
Can you imagine?
On the platform of APC itself. So you see all these kind of things. We even saw a sitting governor lose in Zamfara. All across the country, there were these pockets of successes. That's what we call it. We saw an Okada rider actually win a seat.
Yeah, really. A comrade, student unionist, becoming member of the House.
We saw a woman, a very young woman in Kwara State, win a State House of Assembly
a volunteer teacher dislodging speaker.
So you see all this kind of things. So there are lots of these positives that we are yet to unpack, that we are yet to highlight about these elections, that should actually make us feel good that 24 years, our democracy is actually maturing in itself.
I am happy this is coming from you as Director, Center for Democracy and Development. Now, where do we get it wrong that some people are saying this is the worst election in Nigeria's history? Is it the worst first?
I don't think it's the worst elections, because we have counted the mere fact that even with the way people are saying it's the worst election, they did not go to the street. They went to the courts. It's telling you that it is not the worst, that our democracy is actually maturing. Okay. I think that we had a very huge expectation. For instance, we expected that the polls will commence timely across the country. Yeah. But these polls did not commence timely itself, which raised challenge. You heard one of your listeners speaking about the Naira scarcity.
Yes, we
had Naira scarcity, we had fuel scarcity, we had all this already poisoning the atmosphere ahead of the elections. Then you had a huge, highly contested elections where you will remember when I came to the studio, I said, look, this will be very identitarian in nature in these elections, where you have 3 of the biggest ethnic group in Nigeria fielding candidates itself. And when you look at the vote at the end of the day, you see it was fragmented along ethnic lines. Yeah. You see Atiku Abubakar, for instance, won 5 out of the 6 states in the Northeast where he comes from. The only state he did not win was Borno, which is the state of the presidential candidate of the APC, current vice president. He flipped Yobe, which has always voted AD, ANPP, CPC. He flipped it when you talk in terms of religion. Then you go to the Northwest, they won 4 out of the 7 states in the Northwest, where they are telling you that this Namu thing, of course, is important. And you will see that in the Southwest, Tinubu won 4 of the states. In the Southeast, Obi won 5 out of all these states, winning big, not even giving the other candidate the opportunity to get the 25% in the Southeast. So this nature, of course, and with the challenge and the promise that the INEC result viewing platform is going to work. even the fact that many people felt that this INEC result viewing platform, we start tabulating the result, the IREV, we just see the result automatically like that. Many did not even understand that it will just be snapped picture.
Yeah, it's like you scan this page.
And you put all the... So a lot of expectation was put onto the elections. And because these expectations were not met, it dampened the morale of some people.
But this has not actually
taking away all the positives in the elections. And you see, one thing we rarely talk about these elections is that there is so much fixation on the presidential elections, which occurred at the same time with the National Assembly elections. There is so much fixation with it that we have not even been able to go to do a deep dive into the other elections to see that there are indeed some good things that have actually come out of these elections. And because of a lot of cyberbullying, the ethnicization of the contest also, it takes courage to sit and say that, oh, these elections, there was something good in these elections.
And I hope that Nigerians learn this maybe before 2027. But fast forward, Idayat, the president has been inaugurated, governors in 28 states. Now, looking at the caliber of people that came for the inauguration from UK, from US, you know, India, all these countries, is this a validation?
I think it is. I think yesterday, I think after the elections is over, we are now in the business of governance, really, and all patriotic Nigeria should actually focus on governance, how it will deliver to us, while we continue to keep an eye on what is happening in the judiciary, because it's part of electoral justice to pursue justice till the end. So but a new government has come into place, and you can see that the president of the United States of America, Joe Biden, actually issued a statement yesterday to congratulate the new president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he actually has sent the biggest delegation since his assumption of office, a 10-man delegation for this.
Compared to the one he sent any other
country for this inauguration, which I think is big. The King, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the King Charles also has sent congratulatory messages. You saw that India was actually represented by their defense minister itself. Most of our West African neighbors were present for the inauguration, really, which talks really about, look, this is Nigeria. Nigeria is really important for the world. Nigeria is not just important for Africa, it's important for the world. And I think as a nation, we will keep keeping our eyes on what is happening in the judiciary, because we will not at any point take away people's right to pursue justice, electoral justice.
I saw some postings on Twitter, Instagram. Some people, we all call them bullies, right? Twitter bullies or what, trolls and all that, saying with the kind of delegation that witnessed the swearing in of Tinubu, the best option for those that have gone to court is to calmly go there overnight, withdraw the files, and wait for 2027.
No. That is denying people of justice. And at no time should we say that people should not pursue justice. They have to pursue justice, because it also gives room for closure. It's most times in the world. In fact, if you look at most of the countries where we have had challenges, in West Africa in particular, it's all been as a result of fractious elections and where they feel that justice was not actually served. So if you look at the Francophone system, once they go to the elections, once elections are held, they will be validated by the Constitutional Court. Once a win is validated by the Constitutional Court, that is the end.
So what we are witnessing in Nigeria is not actually strange.
It's not strange. So we are waiting to ensure. It's not strange, actually. This is not the first time, with the exception of 2015. Every election, when President Goodluck Jonathan did not challenge the elections in court, every election since 1999 has actually been challenged in court. Olufalaye and Obasanjo, Buhari and Obasanjo, Buhari and Yaradua, then from Buhari and Yaradua, Buhari and Jonathan, then none. Then in 2019 we had Buhari and Atiku Abubakar, and it's not.
And now we have Buhari. We have
Tinubu and Atiku, Tinubu and Obi, and Tinubu and APM. So it's
there are even others from the so-called
APM.
banana.
Yes, exactly. So it's nothing new. It is what we strive for. It is what we beg for. It is what is actually showing a deepening of our democracy. That these leaders, in the person of former President Atiku Abubakar, did not tell his supporters to go to the street and start destroying things. Like a former governor, Obi, with his young supporters, the obedient, did not go to the street. They pursued the court, whatever their thought might actually be, and be really. So we can, these elections represent different things to different people in different parts of the country. In some parts of the country, people are very happy. In some part of the country, they are not even interested in the top, which is the president. They are looking at the bottom. So they are looking, so it represents, and in other parts, they are busy jubilating and saying, oh, our time has come, oh, this is our time. We are the something. And we really have to take the elections one after the other. So if you look at the governorship elections, for instance, and you even look at the violence compared to the presidential elections, they are not.
There is progress. Now, President Tinubu is in Villa. And different category of Nigerians are actually defining what they expect from him. Before I get to what you expect from him, you've seen our tidbit. One of them said economic growth. Another person spoke on security. Someone said good governance. Someone spoke about inflation. Someone's problem is joblessness. So talking about hunger, that no food. Nobody is saying, I didn't see it, that, okay, let's continue from where the other government stopped. Now, can you summarize the feeling of all these people?
I think two things come out straight there. People are really yearning for economic growth, and they are yearning for security as very top and important. And you will see, for the first time in the history of the country, we are not even talking about people asking for corruption, like fight corruption, fight corruption, fight corruption. This is the first time. You didn't, from your tidbit, nobody said corruption. People only spoke about food, job.
I think the definition of corruption is grossly exaggerated. Am I correct?
It's not like it's grossly exaggerated. When you compare 2015 and 2023, three things were top agenda on the list of Nigeria, not what APC only used it to actually fund our cardinal.
Then is it that maybe Buhari has wiped out corruption? Because these two things that they mentioned, based on your summary, economic growth and security. Buhari spoke on this. He added fighting corruption. But you can see from what we aggregated now, they don't even talk about corruption.
No, not because he has fought it, but because people have realized that this corruption, which is very big and close to my heart, and even for us at the CDT, where we invest a lot of money in strengthening anti-corruption agencies, people want the basic things of life now. Those are their priorities.
Basic necessities.
The basic necessities. When the economy works, they will have food, they will have job, there will be reduced inflation. There will be reduced inflation. There will be like investments. There will be just like every nitty-gritty. They will even have the opportunity to buy and sell if you are a trader. For instance, everything, there will be conducive environment for investment, even if there is insecurity.
There is security,
There will be conducive environment, not just for foreign investment, but even for the farmers, for the traders, for us to have our social life, for even development to happen. So somebody spoke about having hospitals. There are many parts of this country where even the last Buhari administration tried to create infrastructure. They could not even access the place.
Because of insecurity. Now, can we say the last government has failed in the area of security?
When Buhari came, we only had Boko Haram occupying the so-called, we had Boko Haram in the 3 states of the north east, Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. Yeah. And we had the challenge, rural banditry was beginning to rear its head in the northwest, but it wasn't this big because our first book on rural banditry was around that period. But when Buhari left Nigeria with an epidemic of insecurity. You know, it's not a pandemic, but it's an epidemic because it's multi. As he left yesterday. You are talking about the Boko Haram insurgency. Under his watch, Boko Haram got fragmented into Boko Haram, the Shekar-led JAS then. Despite the claim of declaring them. Islamic State in the West African region, province. So you have ISWAP, you have JAS under his watch. Maybe before he came, Ansari already left them. Under his watch, these 2 groups have now even moved to the northwest, where we are already battling bandit groups. Yeah. We talk about more than 100 bandit groups. Yeah, there's a media house now that says bandit terrorists. Yes, because even the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari declared them as actually terrorists. So you have more than 100 of those groups with warlords operating in the northwest. You have contestation over natural resources, land and water, farmers and herders conflicts spanning more than 20 states in the federation. You have the separationist agitation in the southeast. You have a bit of it in the southwest. The Niger Delta, of course, remains still restive. And you have cultism, kidnapping, and other forms of vices. In fact, when you look at the Niger Delta, from the restiveness alone, you saw oil theft skyrocketed to such an extent that it took away all our earnings like that. So he left the country yesterday with an epidemic of insecurity. But Tinubu commended him for his effort and said he will build on what he has done. Because President Tinubu will have to commend him because, of course, they belong to the same party. And on his first day on assumption of duties, he will have to toe the political lines. Nigerians commending him. Do Nigerians feel safe? That's something. When it comes to security, I think that is one serious challenge we have. And that is where we are looking up to the new administration to see what they will do. And I have seen what they released yesterday. They talked a lot about retooling the security forces, as in the President Tinubu's administration will retool the security forces, more boots on ground, more equipment for them, more better welfare. But that is not actually going to solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. How do you mean? Yes, more boots on ground are good. Because one of the challenges is very small policing in most of those communities. So you see communities where they will only have 1, 2 policemen, and the police will leave the village to go and sleep in the local government secretariat by the time it's night, like that. Most of the people are also in an acquaintance house. Yes, because even the secretariat is actually exposed. And you see all the numbers of villages, towns, and that we have beyond our 774 local governments. So those numbers are important, and you see that we keep talking about the military now operating in the 36 states of the federation, not 34 states that we used to talk about ahead of 2015 elections. 2023. Yes, but now look at 2023, they're in 36 states. So getting more numbers and getting them more resources are good. But it will not solve the problem. Okay, it's not the number of the Tucano. What do you think will solve the problem? But he was really passionate if you look at his tone when he came to issue of security. I strongly believe, having worked in different parts of Nigeria on insecurity in the last 8 years and very committed, in fact, Boko Haram for more than 12 years, that this will not actually solve the problem of insecurity unless you address the root causes of this problem. And these root causes are wide when you look at it. And they are also linked to like addressing the economic challenges. Listed by Nigerians. So maybe the soft issues will be addressing poverty, unemployment, but there are other issues that are important when you talk about addressing insecurity. They fear marginalization is one thing we've come up with.
Marginalization of who?
The people. So anywhere you go to, people claim, either real or perceived, that they are marginalized, and it's one of their responses actually to take up arms against the state. So if you ask them a bandit, they will tell you that what is the life of a Fulani man worth? The life of a Fulani man is not better than the tree under which
we had Dr. Umar Ardo who mentioned this yesterday.
Yes, under the tree that it stands, and they are treated as if they are lesser than the citizens, and blah blah blah. They can, on one hand, so that's just one example. But you go to each part of Nigeria, people have that same feelings, and they are responding in the same way. The failure of the justice system itself is another one. If you look at it from Boko Haram to banditry to the Southeast separationist agitation, the issue of justice sector failure comes in, because justice, people see justice delayed to be justice denied. The slow will of justice, it's something that is very up and high in the heart of the people. People feel that if the justice system will not dispense justice to them, they have to just take up their arms and defend themselves. So you speak to people, you speak to our respondents on the field, they tell us like, okay, do you think like I want to pick up arms and start killing people? Is it because I'm just this person that is so powerful? That's how I feel I can kill citizens. But I went to court. I was in court for 10 years. I lost all my cattle. I could not get back my my cattle. They, of course, they took my mommy away. They locked her up. They took my father away, or my brother was killed. All attempt to get justice, we did not get justice. Even if you look at Boko Haram at the beginning, what were people asking for? Part of the demand of the set was, when they were still sets and not terrorists, was like the people who killed Muhammad Yusuf and Buji Fuwa and co. should actually be brought to account. Who killed all their 800 members or so should be brought to account. They were never brought to account before these people moved from what is it, Dawa, to full-blown jihad. And there is also a problem. Most of them, they were court-martialed. Government actually brought them to justice, to some of these perpetrators. But it was never properly communicated, such that people did not even know that justice, no matter how little it is,
was delivered at certain level.
At certain level.
So now, how do you think? Because my feeling is this issue of marginalization and whatever, it is only when each and every Nigerian is a president. I mean, that he will feel like he's not marginalized. It's a matter of inclusion.
Okay. How do we include people? It's not a matter of jostling for who gets what, I'll be better off. How do we include people? How do we include young women, young people, persons living with disability, ethnic grouping in everything that we do, so that one does not actually feel left out at all levels of government itself? And how do you include them in education in all the sectors, not just in one sector, but that's just one. But when you talk about justice, justice is extremely important. You have to do a justice sector reform that is holistic. So if you look at the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, for instance, it should have cured some of this deficit. But states like Zamfara that has so much insecurity was yet to domesticate it at that level. Then is another thing that you have to retool the judiciary itself and take away corruption from the judiciary. Our borders are also extremely important. Because of the porosity of the borders, it means that every Tom, Dick and Harry can actually come into the country to perpetrate their violence. It means people here can also disappear.
From what you are saying, it's like Tinubu has to start from ground zero, but I will plead that you hold your breath. When we return from break, you build on that. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have in the studio Hidayat Hassan, Director, Center for Democracy and Development, dissecting the way forward for President Tinubu and his team, all what you said cannot be achieved completely.
It can be.
At the national level.
Yes.
What role do you think subnational levels
They
have
do
to
have
play?
roles. We all have roles because it's a federation, really. And when we are talking about achieving or unachieving, the first thing to put out on the security is that while the military or the enemy-centric approach is necessary, more boots on ground, you need the non-military approach, the non-kinetic approach to ensure that these issues, there is long-term security and stability for this country like that, and that includes a host of things on that. And it's also good that we start seeing that everything is not on Abuja, but Abuja must set the policy direction.
Okay.
Abuja must set the policy direction, and the state must actually toe in line for some of these things. For instance, if you ask people what are their priority in the Northwest, for instance, people want a synergized fighting force, the same way we have the Operation Adinkai in the Northeast. They want a similar operation that would be able to fight the bandits and the terrorists in the Northwest, not having Operation Safe Haven, Operation this, Operation that, across the 5-6 states where there are insecurity, and it can be done simultaneously like that, which also shows that the state must collaborate for things to
you are passionate about security, Idayat, but yesterday is like the president stared the honestness when he said subsidy gone and queues are now back in our filling stations. Is this not a recipe for another round of chaos?
I think I'm worried about the removal of subsidy, actually. Personally, I don't know if I'm actually ready to pay more money for fuel. I will not. I know that I'm actually one of the people who feel like maybe subsidy is a scam, but we were not prepared that we'll be paying 700 naira.
Some are saying 500, some 700
per liter. And we also feel that it should be a phased thing where there should be communication. It should not be like by executive fiat, which will take effect immediately. And this is where we need the new president, the new sheriff in town, as a father of nation, to do better in terms of tone setting, because that speech could have been one where we know that there will be a removal of subsidy, but it should be faced. It
should be soft. But don't you think it's better that he has taken the bull by the horns? Because since 1999, they said leaders have been dodging this landmine.
So we love the fact that he has taken the bull by the horn. I tell you, two things stand out for me. It's a single forex system, this foreign exchange, like the single
window. You like what he's focused on.
Yes, I love that, and I love the subsidy also.
We heard that Emepele met him in the villa today, even though we didn't get the specifics. What do you expect? Is he sacking him today?
I think that will be one of the tone setters for Nigerians if he can be sacked, since many believe that he brought unnecessary hardship to the nation.
But Buhari gave him national honor 3 days ago.
Please, Buhari is gone. Buhari is now a yesterday.
You want Tinubu to, is it reverse that honor?
No. We can keep his honor, but we want Tinubu to tone set for us that this is where he is going. We are removing subsidy, but he must have a conversation around the removal of the subsidy. Okay. It cannot be immediate.
You think he should have said it in a different way?
Yes.
Rather than the way he put it yesterday.
There should have been addendum that subsidy will be removed. Not like he even said, did he put immediately?
No, he said he don't even know that. Yeah.
That subsidy is going, which is true, but we have now seen people capitalized on it.
Yeah,
it would have been good to say that subsidy will be gone by end of June, so that there will be a negotiation around what the exact cost is for landing. Now we have been able to see the pricing policy for the last 6 years. So by the analysis of that, and when this single exchange rate will come into force, we would be able to say if it will be 700 naira will be fair, or 500 naira will actually be fair as the amount to be utilized. And when the Dangote refinery comes into
which is
in July,
yes.
In July also, if Nigeria would be able to negotiate something akin to paying in naira and not paying in dollars for the fuel, maybe that will also cushion the effect in the lives of Nigeria. So this subsidy is good. The one about Emefiele, I personally do feel that yes, he can keep his honors, but there should be some form of accountability.
From all what
he has done. It's not just about the naira policy. In any sane country, the minute he attempted to vie for office as a sitting CBN, he should have been asked to resign. You know, if our economy goes by the way they will say, talk about the Dow Jones, they will talk about the stock market, all this Wall Street, those big things, it could have crashed. It could have actually crashed because the investors' confidence could have gone from 10 to 0 when it did that. Huh? So we were even lucky, yes, because that is like a shock.
Is it really we bounced off
we bounced because at times we will find that it will be small scandal that will crash
and the economy.
Or the stock market. So you will see, like internally, when they are having challenges in a company, in especially all this Fortune 500 company, let alone a government institution, they will insist that the chair, the board might remove the executive director in charge or the chairman just to blow up investors' confidence.
But now that already the queues are back, and you know, certainly these retailers, they will not dispense it. They will continue to, cause serious go-slow to wait until the final day. Maybe some have like 3 trailers down there, maybe 100,000 liters, all that. What do you think the president should do? Because it's like, while Nigerians are jubilating, it's a new dawn, it's like it's another sunset.
I think we are not ready to just have that now. The president will have to sit with the NNPC, even if they are private, the PPRA and all relevant authority, to talk about how this will be faced and to prepare Nigerians ahead of it. Because it will take a lot of preparation to get to this. Even for people.
Meeting at the dead of the night.
Yeah, I saw it, but that's not. It takes a lot. It cannot be immediate. Because you are even talking about pricing for public transport, for instance. We are talking about fuel. So if you are saying they were buying at 200 naira yesterday, are they going to change the cost of I don't know, those public Abuja transport from 100 naira immediately to 400 naira? It also takes some calculation for this to happen.
But you know, Buhari had already increased the salary of a certain segment of the civil sector.
But what about the private sector? Because you keep talking like, okay, Buhari has increased the salary, there has been a wage adjustment. People talk about it. But what about the private sector, really? What about the fact that we have just emerged from this COVID? We have just emerged from elections also, where many people have refused to invest because they are watching the policy direction of the new administration. So lots of things have actually been done, and lots will need to be done. So this will be faced, and this will require openness, because what is currently happening is that you are allowing the market to determine the price. And the market should actually do that, but it shouldn't be somewhere where they are coming from almost a welfare system where they were getting some form of balance to then come and capitalism then old sway, and people are even doing it at cutthroats where you have 500, 700 naira as a regime.
Do you foresee maybe a reversal of some of the last minute policies? For instance, the $800 million sought for by the previous administration to share. We brought somebody, I think it was Senator Indume, who was saying when he made his calculation, it's going to be around 4,000 for a household, which they said will cushion the effect of the subsidy removal.
I don't know how they share this money, and I think that any administration will definitely walk back on some of these policies. It might not make them look good to the new, to the outgone administration, but it will be done. You've seen in Kano what Abagida Gida already has done to many of Gandhi's policy. Upturned.
Do you expect that at the national level? Or you want to do things like that?
Yes, we need to take bold decisions. We need to take bold decisions.
Like the approvals, multi-billionaire approvals.
Some of the appointments, the approvals, some of the policies, like signing the bill, how many days before, like
you
the
You want
Senate.
Tinubu to upturn all this?
There were lots of things, even beyond what we know, that will really have to be upturned.
And should they make them public?
They have to, that's part of
will that add a public confidence in government?
President Tinubu needs to build trust with Nigerians.
You mentioned three things when our newspaper team contacted you last night for what we had in the paper. You said that he should try with strategic planning, sound financial management, and expert advice.
Yes.
Briefly.
I think these are important, and you have heard it even from Nigerians, where they said that one of the things they know from him, that they love about him from your tidbits, is that he assembles the best people to do the job. Now we need experts to tell us how this subsidy regime can actually move.
Someone faulted the previous administration that it was wrong. Is this wrong hole and all that?
What should be done. Okay. The way I'm telling you that, listen, this is not just about enemy-centric approach. This needs to go with the non-kinetic approach. Is actually very important in terms of fighting insecurity in the country. So you need sound expert advice. And I think when we come to this sound expert advice, which is driven towards policies, we expect the president, that is now a president, he must play with policies, not politics.
Policies, not
politics.
But when you look at how he got it there, of course, some people are saying he is probably the first person in Nigeria to get to the villa on his own to greater extent. This is debatable, but of course he's surrounded by many people. There are many hawks now who spearheaded the campaign and all that, and some have even started mentioning the so-called cabal around the president. Do you think he will depart from that trap?
I think it will have to, we can no longer go. Nigeria is on a precipice.
Okay.
Because it has been 8 years of frustration for many people. But I don't want to always throw the Buhari's government away like that. When it comes to infrastructural development, they did well.
Okay.
When it comes to agriculture also, they did considerably well.
But food, today, I checked yesterday, a bag of rice started to 4,000, in fact in some places 40,000.
But the thing is that at least we are eating our local rice, which is very healthier for us in the long run. How many people are eating
it now?
Yes, really. When you talk about the fertilizer program that they had also, I think that was good. The Anchor Buharis program.
So the Buhari has the credit of forcing us to grow what we eat, but we have achieved in actually annexing certain percentage of Nigerians from having access to rice. It's now a luxury to have rice.
Yes. So Buhari, the problem with Buhari, which must not happen, is that when he makes a policy, his policies are, they countermand the other. Okay. So there will be something positive, but he will make another policy that will take away the positive and turn it to negative. And that is what this administration should actually shy away from. So you cannot have policies that are not converging. But
so that is strategic planning.
So that is the strategic planning, really.
They shouldn't do things haphazardly.
Yeah. So when you look at the Buhari administration, for the first 3 years or so, we were not able to discern the monetary policy from the fiscal policy.
They were juggled.
They were juggled. We need a straight monetary policy, a straight fiscal policy. We need institutions of government to work together. When they came, for instance, and said dollar exchange, we are not going to give 43 ban lists, for instance. On it was one of the concentrate for tomato paste, where the likes of, what is the name of this, Erisco, was already ready and had invested a lot in producing tomato paste, which Nigeria consumes the most in West Africa. And I think we were even importing. Maybe some of the factories were there in Ghana. So we had the opportunity to be self-subsistence. But they then had one of the important ingredients on the list of the 43 items banned to get forex. So you see, so these were the kind of things, counterproductive policies. One will fight against the other. I think we do not need that. I think we need an open government that will actually speak to Nigerians. We do not need a government that feels like, oh, you are Nigerians, just go to hell. We are not going to speak to you like that. I think this has not worked.
Do you expect Tinubu to open the borders?
He has to open the borders, because if he's veering towards capitalism, the way they are going, the opening of the borders is actually one. Either you open the border or you do not open the border. On daily basis, there are movement of goods and services.
So it's even better to formalize exit and entry.
If you look at services alone, now I'm not even talking about goods, services alone, in terms of buildings, all these structures and edifices you are finding either in Nigeria, in Lagos, Port Harcourt or Abuja, they are being built by our neighbors from Togo, from Benin Republic. You see the players,
POP, laying tiles and all that.
So see how the services are actually moving into the country. That is minus the goods, which we continue to get everything.
So it's like better to formalize this, so that whoever is coming as a mason or to lay tiles, he has to pay taxes to the government.
Because it's also counterproductive to the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods and services, which is one of the guiding spirits of ECOWAS itself. Then we would be able to tax, we would be able to get money. We will know what is actually coming into our country, as against people having to take all those footpaths to bring in those rice, to bring in the vegetable oil, to bring in even our kilishi. There is Niger Republic dried meat beyond what we produce in Sokoto and Samfara that comes into this country and that people love.
It's really a minus. I know that some of you, the democracy advocates, you've started maybe counting days for 2027, right? Yes. Election. What areas do you think President Tinubu needs to reform to avoid some of the, holes we fell into during the 2023 election?
I think there were two things, really. It will be one, the electoral integrity system, composing of the political process and the technical aspect, which is the electoral management body. When it comes to the electoral management body, they will need to change the appointment processes.
Okay, for the commissioners, INEC, resident electoral commissioners. What about the INEC chairman?
And the INEC chairman, like the all gamut of this apparatus, there should be
the whole institution.
A change in the appointment process along the line of what was proposed with the Buhari's panel report or anything new, because this appointment of partisans into the commission led to some of the challenges.
But is there any Nigeria that's not partisan? Maybe you and me? I don't know.
Yeah, but some are clearly partisan. If you look at the Sokoto resident electoral commissioner, then it was, how do you explain this to Nigerians if they could see his picture as an APC aspirant? It doesn't necessarily mean that he continues to be partisan. And it's not limited to Nigeria, because even in Ghana today, there were like 2 members out of the 3 new members that was just brought into the Electoral Commission, the Ghana EC, who have also claimed to be partisan. What that does is that it reduces the integrity in their outcome.
So how should the recruitment process be?
So the recruitment should be more of ensuring non-partisan than people with capacity. The fact that you are a professor of botany, or you are a professor of something, even at times statistics or political science,
electrical engineer or any other field,
does not even mean that you know about elections. Does not mean that you know management. You might actually find an Hamza who has been a veteran newsman, can provide more in terms of communication for the electoral management body, because he understands the media, he understands the people, and is able to communicate and build trust for the people itself. So this, ensuring that appointment process, ensuring electoral justice. Before President Buhari left, there was a bill to pass the Electoral Offences Commission. That should be one thing that President Tinubu should immediately pick up to build trust with Nigeria. That during my first 100 or 1 year, I've been able to pass this Electoral Offences Commission Act into law to say goodbye to electoral impunity. That will actually increase citizens' confidence.
All right. Finally, you should answer in just 1 minute. You saw our other tidbit on interagency rivalry. How do you think Tinubu should address this?
I think it has to be how firm he will be.
Okay.
Really. It's his firmness. It is leadership. it is that leadership by example to ensure that there will be accountability and things will be done the right way without any form of favoritism to any of the agencies.
Because I asked this question, some people are saying it was really the albatross that undermined Buhari's efforts. Because if you look at in terms of providing equipment and all that for the military, police and other, he has done that, but he was unable to manage interagency rivalry.
It's been firm. As a leader is firm. A leader he takes the bull by the horn and dictates the pace. If he is our leader, he is leading. He's not leading just by body language, but he's leading by actions. So it's about leadership by example and setting the tone of what his administration will stand for, which is no favoritism for EFCC, not appointment, no favoritism for DSS over NIA, over Nigerian Police Force.
They should all be allowed to function based on their acts.
Yes,
that is the
their mandates are clear.
All right. Thank you very much, Hidayat Hassan, Director, Center for Democracy and Development, for coming to our studios and for your informed perspective on all the issues we raised. We hope to have you again.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's a wrap on today's program. It was thanks for watching and do join us again. I am Hamza Idris.